Everyone knows that The Amazing World of Gumball is one of the wildest shows ever made, but what many fans don't realize is that some of its characters actually died. Do you remember all of them? Or did a few of these deaths slip right under your nose? A lot of Gumball fans have no idea, but Darwin himself has died not once, but twice. Surprised? Hold on, we'll explain. The first case we're going to talk about today happened in the alternate world called The Amazing Future of Gumball, where everyone has already grown up. There's a fan theory that became popular thanks to a fanfic by @ILP, which tries to explain Darwin's death during his teenage years in a tragic yet emotional way. According to the story, Darwin died young, and everything we see of him in the future, or in alternate versions of The Amazing World of Gumball, is actually a spiritual version of him. Like he kept on living with Carrie and her family in the ghost world. Gumball married Penny, and Darwin, well, he married Carrie. Yep, he finally fulfilled his dream of being with his ghost girlfriend. But you might be wondering, wait, how did Darwin become a ghost? Well, the story's as crazy as it sounds. Back on one Halloween, Carrie gave Gumball and Darwin a magic potion that would turn them into ghosts for a short while. The problem, they were supposed to drink just one drop, and they took way more than they should have, like a lot more. Result, they became ghosts for good. And to make it worse, Gumball, being Gumball, mixed up the potion with poison and gave it to Darwin. When he realized what he'd done, it was too late. Our beloved Darwin was gone. But don't panic. Carrie, being the sweetest and most powerful ghost in the spirit world, brought Darwin back as a full-time ghost, allowing him to live with his family and even start his own huge ghost family with her. Now get ready, because this one might sound like fan fiction, but it's officially Gumball level crazy. Don't go anywhere, because what's coming next is going to blow your mind. Brace yourself, because this next one is straight out of a horror movie, with a happy ending. In the episode The Mirror, the same one where Carrie's terrifying dad, the evil taker, makes his first and only appearance, poor Darwin faces the biggest scare of his life. The scary father-in-law decides to chase and torment Darwin, until the shocking moment when he actually kills him. Yep, Darwin literally goes belly up for a few seconds, but don't worry. Gumball manages to bring him back using magic words from a spellbook that breaks curses, so technically Darwin was dead. But only for a moment. Anton, the unluckiest slice of bread in the entire amazing world of Gumball. If anyone in the show has suffered the most, it's definitely him. Seriously, the guy should have a frequent flyer card for the afterlife by now. He's had tragic endings of every possible kind, devoured by a flock of hungry crows right in the middle of recess, in a scene worthy of a school lunch in danger documentary, eaten by a duck at Elmore's Lake, and even stomped flat by Tina Rex until he turned into crumbs. He's also dissolved in the pool multiple times. Remember when Gumball desperately tried to save him in front of the whole school during swimming class but failed miserably? And it doesn't stop there. One time, Anton literally died of fright in front of his computer, and in another crazy scene, he was eaten by one of his classmates, mistaken for the day's lunch. If there were an award for most deaths per episode, Anton would win it hands down. Now get ready, because this is one of the strangest deaths in all of the amazing world of Gumball. In the episode The Recipe, our dear Gumball gets the brilliant, or not so brilliant, idea to make his own Anton, but instead of using science, he uses a toaster. The result, a slightly toasted Anton. Okay, completely toasted, and straight into the trash he goes, like yesterday's bread. But the evil Anton clone returns from the crumbly afterlife with an entire army of cloned Antons, ready to take revenge on Gumball. Of course, his plan doesn't end well. Gumball tosses him into the pool, and as everyone knows, bread and water don't mix. Poor evil Anton dissolves completely and gets sucked down the drain, straight to the crumb afterlife. Did you know Gumball's real name was actually Zack? Yep, a pretty cool name, if it hadn't turned into an evil entity inside Gumball himself. When the secret finally comes out, Zack takes control and turns into the most annoying version of Gumball ever. But his ending is the weirdest of them all. No explosion, no revenge, no drama. Gumball's parents simply go to City Hall and legally change his name, and poof, Zack stops existing, erased from reality like he never lived in the first place. Now here's a character who left a lasting mark on everyone who watched that episode. The legendary and terrifying Carrie's dad, also known as the Take It guy, Darwin's scary father-in-law. He only appeared once in the episode The Mirror, but that was enough to traumatize half the audience and cast a creepy shadow over Elmore. This bizarre being shows up just to torment Gumball and Darwin because they didn't forward a chain email. Yep, one of those prehistoric internet messages that said, "Send this to 10 people or a ghost will come after you." They ignored it, and guess who came to collect? The Take It guy himself, but his fate is as weird as his looks. He falls out of a window, dies, and ends up becoming a real ghost. Pretty ironic, right? And that's how the most terrifying character in all of Elmore continues to exist, even after death. Now we've reached the most shocking death in the amazing world of Gumball. We're talking about Rob, the ultimate villain, the unluckiest guy alive, and maybe the most tragic character in the whole show. In the final episode, he decides to disguise himself as the evil superintendent and tries to turn everyone into humans. He actually manages to transform a few classmates, but when Gumball and Darwin defeat him and save the day, Rob reveals something that changes everything. He was only trying to save everyone from something much worse that was about to happen, but of course no one believes him. And that's when the most chilling scene in the series happens. The ground starts dissolving beneath him, and Rob slowly falls into the void, screaming as he disappears. That's where the episode ends. No answers, no closure. To this day, no one knows if Rob actually died, was erased from existence, or is trapped somewhere in Gumball's dark multiverse, waiting for the right time to come back. Here's a little tip for you. Click the subscribe button down below. That way, it'll be much harder for you to miss any of our upcoming videos. It's time to talk about one of the most underrated villains in the amazing world of Gumball, the Virus. He only appears in one episode, but he proves that size doesn't matter. This tiny creature causes absolute chaos in Elmore. In that episode, you're thrown straight into a microscopic world, seeing everything from the perspective of a virus with a thirst for destruction. This villain is so powerful that he can infect electronic devices, turn technology into weapons, and even control cars to try and run Gumball over. But his ending is unexpectedly hilarious. Gumball outsmarts him, waiting for the perfect moment just to stomp on the virus without mercy. Threat over. No drama, no final speech. The most powerful villain in the show, defeated with a single stomp. Now it's time to talk about one of Elmore's most crushed villains. Mr. Chamax is literally a crumpled piece of paper with a boss complex. The kind of guy who turns a simple work contract into a corporate slavery sentence. He ruled over everyone who signed his contracts, acting like a true tyrant. But his empire came crashing down in the simplest way possible. Gumball just tore up the signed contract, and it was like a bullet straight through Mr. Chamax's heart. In that instant, he turned back into what he really was all along, a crumpled piece of paper falling to the floor, completely defeated. And now, if you thought the amazing world of Gumball was all laughs and chaos, get ready. This episode feels straight out of a horror movie. In the Season 1 episode, The Picnic, Gumball and Darwin get lost in the woods, and out of nowhere, the whole atmosphere changes. When they try to save a tiny caterpillar, it suddenly gets snatched right in front of them. And then a bunch of grotesque monsters appear, straight from Darwin's nightmares. But the craziest part comes next. The monsters start eating each other alive, like something out of a National Geographic documentary, a twisted food chain brought to life. In total, 4 creatures are brutally devoured, one after another, in a sequence so fast you almost forget you're watching a Cartoon Network show. It's like a lesson in biology, but with built-in trauma. Back to the episode, The Recipe, we get one of the strangest, saddest, and soggiest moments in the amazing world of Gumball. Remember when Gumball, in a burst of culinary genius, decides to make his own Anton after the original one literally gets toasted and tossed in the trash? Well, that brilliant plan goes completely off the rails when the angry bread comes to life and turns into evil Anton, a villain bent on revenge, leading an entire army of Anton clones created by Gumball and Darwin. At first, it all looks like an epic bakery war, until you realize that evil Anton's army is, well, way weaker than it looks. None of them can even defeat Darwin in a fight. Frustrated and totally unhinged, evil Anton yells that they failed him, and in an act of pure wickedness, triggers the school's sprinkler system. The result, a deadly downpour for loaves of bread. All the clones melt right there in front of Darwin's horrified eyes. And in that same episode, the real Anton is killed by his evil clone with a shot to the face. Poor guy. He's died so many times we've lost count. You might not remember this hidden scene from Gumball's multiverse, but it's an absolute tragedy. In an alternate world where Gumball is already an adult, he proudly shows off his new car. He walks up to the valet, who just so happens to be a living milk carton, and asks him to park it properly. Everything's normal, until Gumball decides to toss the car keys, only for his aim to be a total disaster. The keys hit the milk carton right in the chest. The result, a scene straight out of a crime drama. The poor valet starts leaking milk everywhere, collapsing right there as Gumball watches in horror. It was practically an accidental crime, a shocking, bizarre moment, and of course 100% Gumball, where even parking your car turns into a near-criminal scene. And to wrap up our list with a bang, we have the comeback of Elmore's weirdest and hungriest monsters. They reappear in a super philosophical episode, the one where Darwin goes searching for the meaning of life. It all starts off kind of cute. A friendly little monster begins to sing a song about the meaning of losing and winning. But the mood changes fast. A bigger monster shows up and devours him without a second thought. And it doesn't stop there. An even larger monster eats that one, turning the whole thing into a wild food chain. The scene ends with the biggest monster of all swallowing the last survivor, proudly singing that the strongest never lose. A life lesson, maybe. A traumatizing scene, definitely. We're wrapping up this video, but if you love having your mind blown, this is the place to be. That's why we picked 2 great videos for you to click, watch, and, best of all, keep